Hi, this is Carl the Cobra Frutch, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. We're here at Bournemouth Beach. Delighted to be joined by one of my most favourite guys to interview in boxing, because he never says no to me. He's always in a good mood and he always gives me good content. Mr. Carl Greaves. Carl, good afternoon to you, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. Arrived yesterday in Bournemouth. I've seen you here last year. Beautiful place to visit, and it's a town that's growing for boxing.
Yeah, I love it in Bournemouth. I've got a lot of friends here as well from back in my days when I was based in Gibraltar. They used to bring a club out there to fight the Gibraltarian Amateur Boxing Club, Lawrence ABC, and I met a few guys out there, and we've kept in touch ever since. So I've come down here regular over the years, and obviously we're bringing boxing back here. It's been even better because I've been to nearly every show I've been to.
And obviously I've seen you as of late on social media promoting your own shows, boxing training, promoting. You know, you're a very, very busy guy. But firstly, how are your shows going in terms of your fan base? How's the growth going? And what's the sort of overall plan within the next sort of 18 months with your shows that you're promoting?
Yeah, I had my 150th show the other month. I can't remember what month we're in now, but in March, March the 25th, I had my 150th show, which was a great achievement, great milestone, considering how tough small hall boxing is. On the whole, I do very well. I always keep my head above water. It's difficult, don't get me wrong, it's tough. Some shows are a lot better than others, but when I put it all together, I do okay. I've got one in June the 9th, back in Leicester Athena. Just a small show. There's no title fights on it. Just keep building the lads, progressing, hope and progress to get to stages like this, which is a bit like what I've done with Stanley Stannard, who's now on the big stage. And then on the 17th of June, I'm at Grimsby Auditorium. The first time I've had professional boxing there since I went there in 2012 when I had Kev Hooper. I'm topping the bill with Levi Giles, who boxed Michael Gomez Jr. on one of the Sky shows not long ago, and was unlucky not to get the decision. So it's all about building the lads, progressing them, and hopefully gives them the opportunity to build the records and get in positions to fight on these kind of shows.
Well, I mean, you're definitely putting your fighters in the right direction. I remember you had Otis Lookham out last year in the Boxer tournament, and as you just mentioned, your guy Stanley Stannard, he's in a very good fight against Lee Cutler. Potentially one of the fights of the night, and definitely a fight to look out for. I've just spoken to Lee a little while ago. A very, very good opponent. Hometown favourite. So just talk to us a bit about Stanley Stannard. I believe he's 10-0. What performance does he put in on Saturday night, and what does the future hold for Stanley?
Yeah, I mean, Stan's a very good fighter. He's got a good pedigree from the amateurs. He wasn't at the elite, but he was always there or thereabouts. I think he's finding his feet better in the professional game than the amateurs. He's a very, very dedicated fighter. He's a southpaw, but he can switch. He's been craving for an opportunity like this for a while. I've been trying to get him like an area title fight, Midland area title fight, but nobody will box him for the area title. A bit the same with Levi Giles. So I've nominated him forward to the British Boxing Board of Control to give him an opportunity for the English title. And they've come up with this fight which against Lee Cutler, which I was a little bit shocked about, because obviously with my days with boxer matching the shows last year, when I stopped matching, my last show was in December actually in Bournemouth, and I used to match Lee. I matched his last two fights, and when they come up with the opportunity for Stan to box Lee Cutler, it was a bit of a shock. But Maria now, and we're excited, and Stan's very confident. He's had great preparation. We went out to Billam-Smith in Portugal for 8 days with some warm weather training. I really enjoyed that. And like I say, he's very dedicated. He's been getting great sparring with Echo Esserman, who's obviously the British Commonwealth and got a couple of titles, WBC and IBF. Been getting great sparring with him, and obviously good sparring down the gym with all the other lads. So he's confident, and this is sort of like his breakout fight, really. Obviously, these are the opportunities where it's great to showcase your talent and your skills, and we'll see what he's made of. I mean, obviously, like you say, Lee Cutler's an hard opponent for him. It's not an hand-picked opponent. It's a tough fight, both sides. It's a 50-50. Even the bookies can't split them. So, but we're quietly confident. I think it'll be a good fight, like you say. It's one of the live fights on the card for sure.
It's also fitting to know that Sky Sports and Box are willing to give fighters from other sort of management and promotions a chance to fight on their platform. I believe we've got 3 of Mick Kennessy's fighters on this card. You've got one of your own as well. I mean, does this go to show that how well Sky Sports and Box have come since they've started their new journey in the sort of last, coming up to I believe now 2 years? Are you impressed with how they've been putting on their shows and of course bringing boxing to a town like Bournemouth?
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved with Boxer from day one. I mean, it was actually Ultimate Boxer. I mean, me and Ben go back a while now, and we were putting the tournaments on together. I was opening them out, and obviously the opportunity to come to work with Boxer to match the shows. Unfortunately, it was a little bit difficult for me. It was like a mutual decision because I'm really busy with my own stuff. As you see, I promote regularly. I promote 8 to 10 shows a year. I manage 40 fighters. I'm all over the place, train, manage, promote, matchmake, and it was tough. So we had a chat, and it was best to step down really and moved on and just carried on doing my own thing. But I'm really pleased how they've progressed over the years. It's not easy. Obviously, Ben will tell you that it's not easy. It's difficult, but the good thing, like you say, is they're willing to work with other promoters. And there's not everybody's willing to do that, and I think that's the way forward in boxing. You've got to work together. It's a tough game, it's a tough job, and if you don't work together, it just makes it more and more difficult, and you're starving the public from good fights, really. I mean, we all want to see good domestic 50-50 fights, and if each promotional company won't work with each other, then it's gonna stop that. But I think the Board of Control are doing a good thing, putting purse bids out against rival promoters, because the fights have to happen unless one withdraws. And that makes it even better, really. So, yeah, onwards and upwards. I think it's going really well for them.
Kind of leads to my next question. Obviously, you mentioned about the British Boxing Board of Control putting on these 50-50 fights, but we saw a saga between Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley. I mean, the ending to that was, it wasn't a good look on boxing. A lot of people have got their opinions. Some people saying Fraser Clark ducked Fabio Wardley. I personally don't think that's true. But what did you make of how that whole sort of saga was handled for the purse bids to be pulled at literally the last minute call?
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, really, because obviously Ben's saying that they don't know why the Board of Control put that fight out because they didn't nominate him. But then obviously Ben's just the promoter of Fraser Clark. His management company 258 stated that they wanted the fight. They put him forward to fight for the British title. So it's hard to believe which is true. Either way, I don't think Fraser Clark would have ducked Fabio Wardley. No way. I think he would have wanted the fight. But I think because there's been a lot of money and investment gone into Fraser Clark from the Sky Sports end. Obviously, he's faced one of the big names on Sky Sports, obviously with his background from the amateurs. I just think they looked at him and thought, you know what, this is maybe a little bit too soon for him. We want him to have maybe an 8-10, tough 10-rounder, just to see what he's made of, give him a live opponent who's going to try and come and beat him and see what he's made of. If he gets through that, then we know he's ready for Fabio Wardley. I think that's more the case, in my opinion. I just think when they sat and looked at it and realised it was dawning on him that the purse bids are coming round to fight Fabio Wardley, I think they looked at it and thought, hold on a minute, we maybe need 1 or 2 more fights before we take on someone at that calibre. Because obviously, although Fabio Wardley hasn't got he never had no amateur background, from what I can gather, just had unlicensed fights, white collar as they call them. He's a good fighter. He's done very, very well as a professional, and I think when it got closer, I think they realised that Fraser Clark needs a little bit more experience.
When you talk about wanting the best to be fighting the best, obviously one of those names that does come to mind is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury. Next move, question mark, still hanging over him at the moment. But I woke up today and I read the news that there's apparently been a deal agreed with the current IBF cruiserweight world champion from Australia. There's also apparently been a deal agreed to fight Dempsey McKean. Listen, no disrespect to those guys, but the boxing public and the boxing world want to see Tyson fight the Usyks, the Joshuas. These are the fights that everybody wants to see. Now, obviously, since Tyson Fury's won the world title for the second time, he's fought Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte. 3 fights in 3 years, but obviously we were in the middle of a pandemic as well, so you have to take that into consideration. What would your message be to Tyson right now as he moves on into sort of maybe perhaps the last stage of his career now, because he is at his peak? And most of the heavyweights are currently at their peak as well. So what would the message be to Tyson Fury? And does he need to be pushed into these big mega fights?
Yeah, these fights he's having now or scouting that's going to be happening, they're no good at all. Who's interested in them? You know what I mean? We want to see Tyson fight the best. We want to see him fighting Usyk. You know what I mean? That's the fight everybody wants to see. We want to see the heavyweight title unified again. But no one's really interested in any other fights other than that one, to be honest with you. Obviously, he beat Deontay Wilder in great fashion. I mean, obviously there's a Joshua fight there that everybody wants to see as well. They're the sort of names he needs to be fighting. No one's really interested in the names that he's going to be boxing. I mean, who cares? You know what I mean? He's a very, very good fighter. He's very talented. But for some reason, I don't know whether it's him or his team around him, they're heading him in the wrong direction. I mean, let's get these big unified heavyweight championship of the world fighters nominated and let's get them on. You know what I mean? Let's see him in with Joshua. Let's see him in with Usyk. I just can't see the reasons behind it, why it's not happening, and it's not good for boxing because, like I say, people's not really interested in who he's going to be fighting other than them sort of names.
Carl, before I let you go, can I get a prediction for this Saturday night's main event? Okolie versus Bournemouth's very own Chris Billam-Smith.
You know what? It's a tricky fight really to pick because obviously, like you say, Shane McGuigan has obviously trained Okolie. He knows him inside out, and he obviously sees flaws there and sees something there that the reason why he wants this fight, or it's just a fight that they never really had much choice but to take because of the situation in the cruiserweight division. Personally, I think if Okolie lands, he can knock Billam-Smith out. Other than that, Billam-Smith will probably outwork him and beat him on points, but it's a tricky one. I'm going to go with Billam-Smith to win on points, but he'll have his moments of Okolie, and Billam-Smith will perhaps have to get off the floor as well to win, but it's a good fight, and hopefully it'll bring the best out of Billam-Smith, and hopefully he wins and we can keep Bournemouth going with the big shows and the big nights down here because it's fantastic. It's like being abroad, and look how nice it is. We want to keep coming back to Bournemouth.
You and me both. Carl, listen, thank you very much for your time, buddy. A pleasure as always. We wish you and Stanley the best of luck Saturday night, and hopefully we'll catch up with you after fight night.
Wicked, top man, thank you.